you know, he's obviously a very, very talented horse. When you go back to these stayers year after year after year, you listen to Ruby and listen to Gary and all the good judges, yourself, Kevin, as well. I was impressed with what he done in Fairhouse last day. I thought it was good.
He was very, very impressive, wasn't it? Do you think that there's a lot more to come from Skylight Hustle?
Yeah, there is. I think he's definitely a graded horse. If the rain keeps falling, Teahupoo in the 3 mile.
What are you asking Santa for this Christmas?
Same thing I ask you every year, Kevin.
What is that?
Just winners.
Hello everyone, welcome along to the Tote Racing TV, a Christmas festival, a preview. I'm delighted to be joined by a stellar cast here this afternoon. Gordon Elliott needs no introduction, of course, having a fantastic season yet again, a fantastic 2024 Christmas period last season. 3 Group Grade 1 winners amongst us all over the festive period. Tote Ambassador Danny Mullins, of course, will be looking forward to some fantastic rides over the Christmas period, and our very own Racing TV's Gary O'Brien. Lads, welcome along.
Thank you very much for having us.
Exciting times of the year.
Definitely.
Gordon, your horse couldn't be in better form.
Yeah, they're in great form, Kev. Obviously, long may it last. They're in good nick and roll on Christmas.
Quick recap on last year. Fantastic Christmas. 3 Grade 1s over the Christmas period at Leopardstown.
Yeah, look, we had a great week. So we had obviously brighter days ahead. Obviously, was the highlight of it. But to pull 3 Grade 1s out of the week was great. So hopefully it'll be the same again.
The long distance novice chase is not there this year. Stephen's Day at Leopardstown. 1-2 for you. Croke Park just got the better of your stable companion. Better times ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Croke Park. Sam gave him a great ride that day. Jumped from fence to fence. Only a small field in the day. I think to come out of the fog, it was hard to see the race. But yeah, I think very disappointing the race isn't there. Don't think it's the best initiative of all times, but everyone's got their reasons. Okay,
Romeo Coolio, the future novice champion hurdle that he won last year. He was breathtaking that day.
Yeah, he was good in Leopardstown last year. Obviously, we rode him very positively and he stayed very well. But you know, I was impressed with what he done in Fairhouse the last day. Not decided where he go, but at the moment probably leaning towards the 2 mile in Leopardstown.
And Romeo Coolio, he's 2 from 2 over fences. We didn't get to see him jump many fences in Down Ryle, but what we saw was very impressive. But he was breathtaking in the Drinmore.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong in Down Ryle, but look, he was very good in the Drinmore. Look, he's got a stronger opposition. It probably wasn't the strongest race in the world, but I'm happy what he's showing us and happy what he's doing.
Is it fair to say early on in his career, mentally he was immature? He's a little bit keen. You had to treat him with kid gloves, but now he's a lot more easier and he relaxes in his races. In the Drinmore, he just looked at ease all the way.
Yeah, you can probably ride a race on him. I remember Keith Dunn who rode in the Cheltenham Bumper a couple of years ago. Like, he was barely rideable even going to the start. He was a very, very keen horse, but he's after settling down, and I think fences have really made him. The way he jumped the hurdle, he jumped them like he wanted a fence. He was giving him too much light and spending too much time in the air, but he seems to be quick over a fence. So yeah, look, whether going to 3 miles at the moment would be the right thing to do. I'm not sure. I think we might bring him back and then we'll learn where we're going for the rest of the season.
And that's the Grade 1, the 2 mile 1 Grade 1, which is back this season. That's on St Stephen's Day at Leopardstown, and that looks the obvious target for him at the moment.
Yeah, it does. Like, you've Limerick, which could get very testing. Obviously, you've the option of that as well. But at the moment, I'd say we're probably leaning towards the 2 mile.
And the way he jumped in the Drinmore, they seemed to go a good gallop, but he was always just doing it at his ease, wasn't he? And he jumped from fence to fence. When he was wrong, he went in and popped. Very economical and very clever over an obstacle.
Yeah, he was very good at. Look, he was almost foot perfect, but you know, he'd want to be doing it against that calibre horse to be going forward. You know, a few of them are kind of summer form, but I liked what I seen.
And Gordon, at this stage of Romeo Coolio's career, I know you don't like overrating your horses, nobody does, but how good do you think this horse is?
Look, we let the horse do the talking. He's going to have to improve to go to the next level.
Don't forget, of course, about all the Tote different offers. We've got win, place, exacta, trifecta, place pot, and of course, you can't forget the jackpot as well. And also, don't forget the Tote bets, of course, money back on any horse that finishes second, third or fourth in any of our feature events over the Christmas period in Ireland and the UK. Okay, King George, Danny. King George, you had you tasted success in the King George. Every national hunt jockey wants to win the King George, and that was on Tornado Flyer. Sorry, I nearly forgot his name there a few years ago. What was that feeling to win the King George?
The King George is probably the race of the Christmas. You know, you're hitting that big audience over in Kempton, you know, on the 26th, whether it's Stephen's Day or Boxing Day, whichever side of the sea, and everyone is looking in. The best 3 mile chasers go there, take it on. It's a unique test for some of the Gold Cup hopefuls because while they're strong stayers, Kempton is a flat track. And, you know, there's a lot of jumping around Kempton and, you know, it can throw up some strange results over the years. And ultimately, if there's a hole in any horse, Kempton will find it out.
Gaelic Warrior, if he goes, or is he doing it?
I think he does. You know, he's got all the right strengths going around there. Going right-handed is probably his best. He was keen and fresh winning the John Durkin in Punchestown. You need that little bit of spark to hold a position early in Kempton. You'll turn away from the stands, steady up for a furlong there before you swing down the back, and then they go at it again. And, you know, often the race develops and gets, you know, they can get sucked in turning for home and be a real dour battle. Vautour just got touched off late on it one year, and the way Gaelic Warrior battled from the back of the last in Punchestown to win was something I really liked in him. And, you know, if that race hasn't, you know, been hard on him, as Gordon said, you know, look at brighter days ahead. In Leopardstown winning that hurdle, it maybe left a mark on her. So that's the only question mark for me. I think everything else will suit Gaelic Warrior and the King George.
You and the Gaelic Warrior camp for the King George, Gary?
I'd probably go Django Bay, to be honest, Kevin. I think there's similarities between himself and Shishkin, who looked like he might win a King George before he had that late mishap in the race Hewick won in 2023 it was. I was impressed by what he did at Ascot on his reappearance. Good novice chaser, obviously an Arkle winner last season. That fell into his lap a little bit, but Danny's hit the nail on the head there. There can be hard tactics to execute at Kempton. I know Ile Francais nearly pulled off something similar last year. He could be in the lineup again, and maybe that'll give Gaelic Warrior a headache if they do ride him a similar way. But I just think I like the profile of Django Bay, the way he's been brought along. Looks as though he'll have no problem with the extra distance as well at Kempton, so he'd probably be the way. Look, he's not much of a price, but he's probably the way I'd go.
No runner for you in the King George?
No, I don't think it will, Kevin, no.
OK, Gordon, a couple of dark horses to look forward to over Christmas.
Look, to be honest, I've a nice horse hoping for Maiden Horde, Caris. It came out with Gary Moore's, out with David Maxwell, the Spursel. He's working well at home. He could go for a maiden hurdle. Ballyfred, he's won 2 bumpers. He could go for a maiden hurdle. Nice horse for the 4-year-old bumper Premier Division. He got bet in Ferry his first time out. I was disappointed the day he got bet, but got bet by a nice horse of mine. But I think he was working that well at home. I'd say Patrick actually rode him. He said he probably might have took a bit of a blow. He was a bit green when he came off it. Look, we'll have a lot of runners. We'll have runners in most races, but yeah, just it'll be interesting to see over the next week now whether who brighter days ahead or what goes to take on Lossiemount. But yeah, it's going to be a good race, and Romeo Coolio obviously and Capek on the 26th is going to be good. And then if the rain keeps falling, Teahupoo in the 3 mile.
What are you asking Santa for this Christmas?
Same thing I ask you every year, Kevin.
What is that?
Just winners.
Doesn't matter where they are?
No, it doesn't matter at all. Listen, I enjoy a winner in Perth as much as one in Leopardstown. It's obviously you want to win the grade ones, and that's what you train horses for. And you know, if you want to train horses, you have to want to get to the top. But just to have winners, and maybe Willie to forget his declarations for a day or two would be great.
What are you asking Santa for, Dan?
It's a bit boring, but it's funny. It's the same thing. You want to get a few winners. Like Christmas Day for me, it's what I enjoy most about Christmas Day is riding out the horses and just all the work probably being done at that stage. You know, you're going home, the papers come out for Stevens's Day on Christmas Eve. You can sit down, do your form, be ready for it, and it's just a bit of a drawn out day. I think by the time you get there to the 26th and you're hopeful of a winner coming here or there, and you know, it's often I've gone through Christmases before where, Paul has ridden all the winners and you're second, third, fourth, and you're waiting till the last day to try and get one, which can just keep heaping the pressure onto you. And in those situations, you just have to keep doing your job and do things right and hope one comes.
Moving on to the second day at Leopardstown over at Christmas time. We've got 2 Grade 1s and, of course, the Paddy Power Chase that day as well. The Paddy's Rewards Chase, the 2 mile one. Gordon, you've got Firefox Found a 50 and Touch Me Not in it at the moment.
Yeah, I'd imagine Touch Me Not would probably go elsewhere. Firefox and Found a 50 both have entries. Found a 50, he was obviously good in Navan. Look at whether he's just up to Grade 1 class, I would question it. And Firefox, he has the option as well, but there's a race in Ascot he might go for as well.
He's been a great servant, hasn't he, Found a 50?
He has been a great servant. He's won 2 Grade 1s. He's been a great horse, but just whether he's Grade 1 level over 2 miles over fences, I'd question it, to be honest, at this stage.
Danny, obviously Willie has a large number of entries in it. Galopin Des Champs, he was very impressive, of course, when he won the Tingle Creek. Would he be likely to come here? Madgeboro's in it as well, amongst others.
You'd imagine so. Like Galopin Des Champs to win the Tingle Creek on heavy ground is something, that was very impressive from him. He's probably been at his best around Leopardstown, and he's in a different ownership to Madgeboro, so you'd imagine they'll take each other on, and yeah, it's shaping up to be another proper race. They're probably the ones that to the head of the market of the Champion Chase, and it might set the pecking order there.
We had a surprise winner in it last year, Solness. He's in it again.
Yeah, JJ gave Solness a great ride in it last year, and that's 2 mile chasing around Leopardstown. If you're jumping and galloping on the front end, one can get away, so you can't give anything away around Leopardstown. And yeah, fingers crossed, they all go out there, attack each other early and come out on top.
And how can we forget about Marine Nationale, the Champion Chase winner?
Yes, he probably improved from the run last year in Leopardstown. So, I'd be a bit suspect of him first run back, but, class horse on his day. But I think some of the others, like even Found a 50, Galopin Des Champs, Madgeboro, will all have a run under their belt. So they're the ones I'd be leaning towards at Christmas.
OK, what's the one you'd like to ride?
I love Galopin Des Champs. He's been a very, very good horse for me. Seeing what he did in the Tingle Creek, he seems to be improving all the time. And, he's just probably not the biggest in the world for a 2 mile chaser, but he's all heart.
And he keeps on improving. He was very impressive, as we said, when he won the Tingle Creek. He made John Bon look an ordinary horse. How impressively he won that day.
Definitely so, and you'd have to think John Bon was back to himself when he reversed the form at Load of Sud there. So, it's good so far, to see maybe the Irish division are ahead of the English ones at the moment in that regard, but the English lads are definitely getting stronger this season. OK, Gary, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just wonder whether, I know what Danny's saying, they're in different ownership, those horses, but whether it might be a little bit hot on the heels maybe of the Tingle Creek and the Hilly Way. I know when an Ergamines won the Hilly Way before, Danny he's tended to give Leopardstown a skip, hasn't he? I think the feeling is that maybe just having that little bit of extra time. So look, it might be the case that it ends up, opposition falls away a little bit to Marine Nationale. You'd love to see something like an Galopin Des Champs or a Madgeboro in there to really throw down the gauntlet to the Champion Chaser itself. But I don't know, that's one of those, I hope it happens, but I'll believe it when I see it. OK, right. That is the first of our 2 Grade 1s at Leopardstown on day 2 of the festival. Our next one, and final Grade 2 in the second day, is, of course, the future champion novice hurdle. Gordon, we've already touched on it. Romeo Coolio is an impressive winner of it last season. Yeah, he was good winner of it last year. Obviously, I think I've 2 or 3 entries in that way. You've got Cocktail Brute, who was a good winner of the Royal Bond. He Can't Dance is in it. Port Authority, I know he was disappointed in Navan. Also, the Flying King is in it, and Skylight Hustle. Yeah, I'd imagine Skylight Hustle probably and Cocktail Brute would be the 2 I'll run in the race. Cocktail Brute, he's a gutsy horse. He was gassy enough in Ferryhouse the last day. Jumped well from the front end. Very uncomplicated horse, but going the right way. And Skylight Hustle, I was impressed with him in Ferryhouse the last day. He came on no end from his first run in Gorham Park, and
I was impressed with what he done in Fairyhouse last day. I thought it was good.
He was very, very impressive, wasn't it? Do you think that there's a lot more to come from Skylight Hustle?
Yeah, there is. I think he's definitely a graded horse. Look, he's been out early, so he's going to have fitness on the side. Willie's probably only going to get stronger over the next couple of weeks with the maidens he'll be coming out with. But this had some good form, and yeah, I think that person will suit him.
And Cocktail Brute, he was so impressive when he won on his first run of the season. That was a Punchestown in the maiden hurdle. He looked like he'd loads of gears. If anything in the Royal Bond, he looked like he needed to step maybe a little bit up and trip.
Yeah, you'd probably say so. But listen, he was gassy enough, but he jumped brilliant. That's what I like, and he's uncomplicated. Very straightforward the way you can ride him. Yeah, he's in good form.
And he really had to dig deep, which is obviously a good sign as well. He's a good attitude, he's a good mind. And the runner-up was a smart horse on the flat as well of Noel Meads Blake that day.
That's right, yeah. I think he's 95 on the flat. Yeah, but again, both horses are probably going to have stronger opposition. So we'll see what happens.
And where can you see Cocktail Brute fitting in the pecking order going forward?
Look, it's early days yet. He's obviously 2 from 2. He's a Grade 2 winner. He's a good attitude, like most Jigginstown horses. He's bought to be a chaser, and I'd say that's going to be his job down the road. But at home, I'd say probably Skylight Hustle's a pacier horse than him.
And Skylight Hustle, were you a little bit disappointed with his first run of the season? I know your horses were going to come on greatly from their first run, but did you walk away that day going, I'm a little bit disappointed here?
No.
No.
I walked up in Fairyhouse the previous year in the bumper, disappointed.
Sorry, in Fairyhouse, yeah.
But I was absolutely delighted in Gorham Park. I thought Jack and Keith Dunn, who got racing too early on the 2 horses they rode, and Sean O'Keefe picked the pieces up. I thought in Fairyhouse he was good. He jumped from hurdle to hurdle, and he was very professional. But no, I was absolutely thrilled in Gorham Park, to be honest. Because
he came with a big reputation when he ran in that bumper in Fairyhouse, didn't he?
He did, but most of these pointers do, to be honest. Yeah.
So you're not putting us off Skylight Hustle?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Interesting thoughts. Danny, Willie, big team of horses entered in it. It's hard to know, obviously, what Willie's going to do at the moment, but a couple of Willie's horses that are in it, what have you liked so far?
Sortudo, yeah, I won on Sortudo in Cork. That was an impressive performance down there. He's probably a horse that, will go further in time, but he showed a good turn of foot in Cork to win down there, and yeah, I think there was plenty of improvement to come from that day.
Love Me Tender, who was due to run the Royal Bond, he's in it as well. He's looked good so far.
He's looked good so far, but as Gordon is saying, winning these races in the autumn, you have to step to a new level to come up to Grade 1 winter standard, and it's a bit like a horse Dr. Steinberg stepped up to win in Navan. Love Me Tender has the potential, but he's got to go out there and prove it. And in Grade 1 races, it's easier said than done. Okay,
Gary, future champions. It's one of the most exciting races, isn't it? Because you have the future stars on show, and they slot into where they eventually,
Yeah, it helps establish the pecking order,
exactly.
Doesn't it? Yeah. There's a lot. Look, obviously, the horses you guys have been talking about there, a lot of untapped potential. Most of those horses are unbeaten, or they've won a maiden hurdle, they've won a couple of novice hurdles. Very difficult to know what their ceiling is. Just looking at the prices, Kevin, one who kind of struck me, I was impressed with in the Royal Bond novice hurdle, Gavin Cromwell's horse, The Passing Wife, was thrown into it on the back of a good run in that maiden. Gordon's horse Skylight Hustle ran in at Gorham Park. Thought he ran a terrific race, and obviously well documented Gavin's horses weren't flying at the time. He's banged in a few winners since then. I don't know whether the plan would be to have another go, maybe at a graded novice hurdle like this, or whether they'll lower his sights for a maiden. But he seems to come back really well from a bit of time off. I think he won 3 bumpers before he went missing for a while. And just looking down, I think he's a 14 or 16 to 1 shot. If he turned up on the day on the back of that really good run in the Royal Bond, I'd definitely give him a fighting chance, particularly if the yard has continued on its upward trajectory since then.
I like the way he's talking about Skylight Hustle.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed on the day at Gorham, but when you hear Gordon say that...
It was a definitive no, wasn't it? He was not disappointed.
Yeah, I at the time was a shade disappointed, but the fact that he wasn't, I think, speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's disappointing you don't win, but I think, it was well documented. A lot of my horses were coming on from the runs around that period. I was happy with him. Yeah.
That's how it looked, in fairness to him.
Yeah, and if you go back and look at the race, Gavin's horse and my horse, I don't think Keith or Jack were at their brilliant best that day.
Okay, interesting thoughts. Right, don't forget the Tote bets, of course, money back on any horse that finishes second, third or fourth in any of our feature events over the Christmas period in Ireland and the UK. Day 3 of the Leopardstown Christmas Festival, the Savills Chase and the Christmas Hurdle, 2 Grade 1s to concentrate on our third day. Gordon, you've had a lot of luck, a lot of success in the Savills Chase. You won a Conflated, Galvin, Delta Work and Outlander, of course, your first winner a number of years ago.
Yeah, they'd be lucky enough, I think, to win it 3 or 4 times, Kevin. We've 3 or 4 entries in it, I think, this year.
Jerry Calam.
Yeah, he actually worked in Naas last week. He actually worked well. Jack was delighted with him. It's the first day he's really sparked, probably, I suppose, in the last few months, you know what I mean? We only got 1 run into him last year. But he's in really good form. He seems to be coming back to himself. Whether we go there with him or wait and go to Tramore, we're not sure. But if he keeps going the way he's going, there's every chance he could take a chance in the race. I'd imagine if I have a runner in the race, it could be maybe Stellar Story and Jerry Calam.
Okay, and going back to Jerry Calam, Gordon, obviously a 4-time Grade 1 winner. He was runner-up in a Gold Cup at Cheltenham. He was runner-up behind Galopin Des Champs in the Savills a couple of years ago as well.
Yeah, he's a great horse, but the problem with these horses, you know, them real horses at that real high end, when you miss a season with them, it's hard to get them back, you know, to that match fitness. You know, so whether Leopardstown's probably going to come back a bit quick. If he does run, I'd love to see him if he finished the first 5 or 6 in Leopardstown, when we know we've something to build on. And to be honest, it'd probably be a kind of a fact-finding mission for us. You know, it'd be interesting to see if Galopin Des Champs comes back, if he's back and ready for that race. Obviously, he's been awesome in it before. You know, and then all the other horses, we're lucky enough at the moment in Ireland. There's you know, the John Durkin a few weeks ago was unbelievable, and the amount of horses in Ireland for that race it's mouth-watering.
Okay, Danny, Galopin Des Champs, how is he? We haven't seen him so far this season. Slight setback, but all roads lead to the Savills at Christmas.
Yeah, he's in good nick at home. It all seems to be well with him. Minor enough setback was probably just cost him a run in the John Durkin, and he looks fairly untouchable around Leopardstown, but that's always probably come as his second run of the season. So often he gets beat on his first run of the season, and now that's going to be where he seems to be at his best, in Leopardstown. So yeah, an interesting one. You know, you couldn't pin your colours to the mast and just say this lad's going to win around there. I'd say there's a fraction of improvement will come from the first run. It's going to be an interesting race. And maybe, you know, last year, come Cheltenham, was he at his peak? Maybe not. He just didn't seem to have the same zest. So missing the John Durkin this year could work out to be perfect for the Cheltenham Gold Cup. But we're chatting about Christmas, and I'd have a slight question mark whether he's going to be sharp and ready for it this year.
Okay, Factor 5. What was your take on him? He's also in the Savills. What was your take on him? He's also in the King George. What was your take on his comeback run in the John Durkin?
A great race. The 2 horses, you know, they went at it. Gaelic Warrior very keen, went fast, and Mark had to go chasing Gaelic Warrior early, and you know, it was a great spectacle to look at, but you'd have to be wondering how much did it take out of both horses. They seem to have come out of the race and look very well at home, but you never know that until they go back again. And in fact, the file last year was probably a bit too keen when he was maybe on the Gold Cup route last year, and he got rerouted to the Ryanair, which suited him. He's a year older, probably a bit more sensible and just calming down. So, you know, he's going in there sharp, but again, has something to prove at the trip. I'd say I'd have him with a run under his belt, probably ahead of Galopin, but, you know, something to prove at that trip as well.
I Am Maximus, Nick Rocket, 2 Grand National winners, they're also in it.
2 Grand National winners, but often in that race they need to step up a little bit more, and the Grand National horses probably lack that little bit of speed. Now, you know, I Am Maximus, he didn't come up to the mark of maybe being a Gold Cup horse. Nick Rocket, probably a bit younger, missed the John Durkin. Would have loved to see him there, but you're still looking at Nick Rocket thinking, is there potential for him to step into the Gold Cup bracket? You're going to learn from Leopardstown, but I'd say he has to go and prove it still.
And Gaelic Warrior as well. He's obviously a little bit temperamental, as we know. When he's good, he's very, very good. He was very good in the John Durkan. It was an unbelievable performance considering how keen and fresh he was the early part of the race.
Definitely. You know, you're looking at the race and you're thinking, you know, he got tight to a fence in the back straight and there's no way he can keep that up. But Gordon was saying, like, Grade 1 horses, they're just on another level. Paul was clever, got a fill in up the side. Mark, I'd say, headed him between the last two on Fact to File and put down the head to go again. Leopard Sound, probably not the place for him. I'd imagine 3 miles right-handed around Kempton is looking like something that's going to be right up his street.
Fast or slow? What was your take on his comeback run? I thought that was a cracking run, the John Durkan.
I thought maybe disappointing, but you're listening to Gordon talking about those older horses as well and how it's harder after missing a year to get them back to peak performance. So you're probably looking from a clever eye thinking there's going to be that more scope to come out of improvement from the John Durkan, and it might come, but I was still disappointed that he maybe didn't get into the race. But it's not a usual John Durkan, the speed that Gaelic Warrior went off at. It probably just caught him a bit flat-footed.
Gary, first time I've ever been accused of having a clever eye. What was your take?
I did raise an eyebrow when Danny said that. All right.
What was your take on Fast or Slow's comeback run?
I thought it was okay. I wouldn't have been raving about it, but it's a bit like what Gordon's talking about with Jerry Colomb there, just a starting point for him after the horse had a bit of an injury last season. Are they looking at the King George for him?
That's in the melting pot as well.
Yeah, I think that was the race they were kind of targeting last year before the plans had to be shelved. So yeah, it was an adequate run. Obviously, you want to see him step up on that next time out, so that'll tell us a bit more about where we are with him. But he's a top-class horse, and whichever race he runs in, I think you'll have to give him respect anyway, at the very least.
But looking at him in the parading that day, I thought he was carrying plenty of condition. I know he normally does, but I thought there was a lot to improve with fitness-wise.
Yeah, you'd hope so. And I heard Martin Brazel's comments after the race. I actually spoke to Martin later on in the day, and he was very pleased with how he ran. And look, he knows the horse better than anyone. So if he's happy and he thinks that it'll bring him forward, who are we to argue? Banbridge
is in it as well, but I'd imagine he's going to go and try and retain his King George crown.
Yeah, I'd imagine that'd be the plan with him, would seem the obvious thing to do. Grey Dawning is in it. I mean, if he runs, it totally changes the race. It's very rare we get a British trained horse come over and take the Irish horses on in their own backyard, particularly at this stage of the season.
Over.
Do you think so, really? Yeah.
Dan Skelton's only one thing in his head this year.
I know, but
being champion trainer.
The only thing he was saying, which I think might maybe persuade him, is it's either this race or the Cheltenham race is at the end of January, and he's worried the Cheltenham race might be called off. And then where does that leave him then in terms of getting a run in? So
I'm sure Dan is vocal enough that it is called off. He'll have it rerouted a week after somewhere else.
See, I wouldn't know that.
But going back to that race, I actually think the Gaelic Warrior had the easiest race of the whole lot of them. Even though he went out and went a good gallop, I think the rest of them had to chase him. Like Paul got to get a breather up across the back into him, and the rest of them were chasing. I think Fact to File, Fast or Slow, all the rest of the horses behind him had a way harder race than Gaelic Warrior. You know, even though he went out and made it, went a good gallop, but the rest of them had to chase him, where Paul had actually got a breather into his at one stage. So it'd be interesting to see how the rest of them come out with a race.
Is there a chance Galopin could go to Tremor instead, Danny, bearing in mind that he hasn't had a run already this season? Would it be kind of like a softer launch for him coming back, or does the Leopard Sound factor push him this way?
I'm sure Willie would keep all options open, but with Album Photo, he'd fallen a few times and kind of wanted to sharpen up his jumping, and with Tremor being up and down a tight track, I think Willie always wanted to keep Album, you know, on his A game and expose, you know, some of his weaknesses and go to Tremor to have him ready for a Gold Cup.
Okay, Savills, your take. What wins it?
Probably Fact to File, Kevin. Well, even if Galopin Des Champs does turn up, I think Fact to File with the run behind him, notwithstanding what Gordon said, yeah, he did have to work pretty hard to get to Gaelic Warrior in the Punchestown race, but look, I know he ended up going the Ryanair route last season, but he's a horse who's won a Brown Advisory at the Cheltenham Festival. I think I was reading, which of the Doyles used to train him, Gordon, in the point? Donica, yeah. Donica thinks he's an out-and-out stayer, and I think Willie's always thought he was a Gold Cup horse as well. So I don't have any doubts about his stamina. There was a couple of times last season they kind of rode him almost negatively to get the trip against Galopin Des Champs, but I think I'd prefer to see him put into the race ridden more positively. I think he stays absolutely fine. Just Galopin Des Champs maybe was a little bit too good for him once or twice. To me, he'd be the most likely winner if he runs here.
Okay, some interesting and intriguing points from our panel ahead of the Savills Chase, of course. That is Grade 1 on the third day of the Leopardstown Christmas Festival. We've also got the Christmas Hurdle, won last year by Home by the Lee, who's again in it this year. And Gordon, starting with you firstly, Teahupoo's obviously there. He won the Hatton's Grace for his third time at Fairyhouse a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but Teahupoo again, he's... last year we went obviously from the Hatton's Grace straight to Cheltenham, but I'm hoping we'll probably go to Leopardstown this year if the ground is safe. I think it'll suit him. He only just held on over 2.5 the last day in Fairyhouse, which when everyone kind of knew going there 2.5 is as short as he wants. Over the 3 miles, the last 2 furlongs, he just got that extra gear that he stays galloping, and he's not fancy, but he's in good form, so we're looking forward to him.
What's the idea about changing tack with Teahupoo now from just having the Hatton's Grace to Cheltenham? Why are you changing now to decide, right, this guy, we're going to give him another run at Leopardstown at Christmas?
Well, personally speaking, I never really thought he needed that much time in between his runs.
Okay.
You keep a horse for a race all year, and something can happen on the day of the race that something goes wrong and you can't run. He's in good form now. He's not getting any younger. You probably would have to say the staying division isn't the strongest division at the moment. But it'll all come down to ground. If the ground is safe, he'll go to Leopardstown. If it's not, he won't.
You were obviously disappointed with him at Cheltenham last season.
No, I wasn't disappointed at all.
Oh, why not? Go on.
The horse ran his heart out. He just didn't win.
Right.
He got bet by a very good horse of Henry the Bromhead's. But like...
Did you think going, though, that you... Obviously, Bob Ollinger was... You thought maybe that you'd have the better horse on the day going there?
You're hoping. But it is sport. And every day you go out, you learn something and you do things different. And, any horse can get better on any day. I was disappointed I didn't win. Of course I was disappointed, but I wasn't disappointed with the horse. The horse tried his heart out. He got there, went to win his race, he jumped the last, and Rachel, I thought, probably gave her horse as good a ride as she ever gave a horse on the day. But no, back to your question, was I disappointed? Disappointed I didn't win the race, but not disappointed with the horse at all.
Is it fair to say he can upgrade the performance, although it was a really tough performance? Did he have Park when he was left in front in the Hatton's Grace the last day?
Definitely. I thought on the day Jordan Gainford gave his horse a brilliant ride. He got the fractions right for us.
Cashildale lad.
Yeah, but he fell at the last. And if you watch Teahupoo when he falls, like over 2.5 miles, it was just almost a carbon copy of the year before. Like when he gets there, he just doesn't do a stroke. And probably in the Stayers Hurdle last year in Cheltenham, he probably idled a bit when he got there as well, But thankfully the line came in time. Paul gave Ballyburn a great ride. He just obviously wanted to have one go at his late, and he almost timed it perfect. I suppose the 3 miles it'll be a big learning curve for Ballyburn as well. He's obviously a very, very talented horse, but when you go back to these stayers year after year after year, you listen to Ruby and listen to Gary and all the good judges, yourself, Kevin, as well. Them staying horses, the good horses normally 9 times out of 10, they're behind the bridle and they're relaxed. Ballyburn is a very, very good horse, but I just don't ever know if he's going to be at his best in a 3-mile race. 3 miles, like with his style of racing, that's my opinion.
Interesting opinion. Thoughts, Danny?
Yes, he's always one that would probably race on the bridle, but I think Paul Townend was quite happy with the run the Hatton's Grace and thought distance was going to be no issue for him. I looked at the race and my initial thoughts were if he jumped faster with the Champion Hurdle division opening up, there was a time, it was a split decision between the Supreme Novice and the 2-5 race in Cheltenham, which would he go for? And if he was to jump sharper, probably the getting high over the last didn't give him a great chance to win on the day in Fairyhouse. Who knows where it'll go, but I'd imagine going to Christmas is 3 miles is probably going to be his port of call, and that could decide what he does come Cheltenham. But there's a bit to prove there, you know, where Gordon's fella is a solid yardstick. He turns up, he does what it says on the tin, and some of those others in the division, you know, it's open again. But you know, Ballyburn is all class, but you know those pieces have to be just put in the puzzle just quite yet for him.
And Bob Ollinger's obviously entered in as well. Be remiss of us to forget about Bob Ollinger. What a horse he is, what a performance it was at Cheltenham last year.
That's it, and you know, Rachel at her best on a big day last year delivered them, and you know, Henry is fantastic at bringing them back for Cheltenham. He's a great man to deliver on the day over there, and he's going to be in the mix. Age probably would be my negative on Bob Ollinger. He's just getting that little bit older and plenty of mileage on the clock. Be nice for racing to see him do it, but I wouldn't fancy him from a punting perspective.
What's the one horse you'd like to ride in it?
I think Teahupoo. He's just so solid, and you know, Gordon is saying there's no particular reason that they didn't go for these races over the last few years, and you know, there's plenty of time for him to still be a fresh horse going to Cheltenham after that. It was the proven route that Gavin Cromwell had with Florence Porter, tried win at Christmas and go on to Cheltenham from there. So I see no reason why it can't work for Teahupoo.
Gary, it could be a fascinating renewal.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, there was very little between the two horses at Fairyhouse, but I was surprised to see Ballyburn such a short price favourite to turn it around because it's 3 miles. And the point Gordon was making there, and I was talking to Patrick, who I think rode him in the bit of work before he ran in Fairyhouse as well, and he had a doubt in the back of his mind about 3 miles for Ballyburn as well. So he wouldn't be one to get stuck into the short price for me, for all that he's a very, very talented horse. Teahupoo is the solid one. I just wanted to ask Gordon, actually, the yellow clay, he's in it as well, Gordon.
Yeah, he'll run it as well, Gary.
Will he run, yeah?
Yeah, he'll definitely run it. He had a hard race here the last day.
That wasn't him.
No.
Was it the ground? I know he won the Lawlers.
I hope so.
race.
Yeah, I hope it was. But the ground in Navan that day compared to Naas was looser ground, I think, today. He won the Lawlers. It was spilling rain all day.
Because
They pulled up in 2 strides
Yeah.
after the line.
and you were thinking about not running him in the Lawlers because of the ground, weren't you?
Yeah. But look, it's he seems to be in good form at home. It seems to be well. That's the route we're going. So look, he's got a good bit to prove after his last run, but he didn't do much wrong last year. But like, he'd have a bit to find with Teahupoo, to be honest. But he's a good horse.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing him run.
Yeah, he could run, Gary. Yeah, he definitely. That's the route we're going to go.
Yeah, look, I was a big fan of him as a novice last season, and right the way through a great run at Cheltenham. Easily give him a pass for what happened to Punchestown. Just hope he can bounce back from that.
To be fair, Jack said that day in Navan, he was better going to the second. You know, and sometimes that can happen with horses. As Danny will tell you, like, you know, every horse is entitled to an off day. You know, the one thing I probably did like about him that day in Navan, albeit he was very disappointing and didn't run his race, he still from the last to the line, he showed a good attitude. He battled back to get second. So, you know, there was nothing wrong with his attitude in the day. I'd say he just had an off day.
Okay, interesting thoughts. Right, don't forget the Tote bets, of course, money back on any horse that finishes second, third or fourth in any of our feature events over the Christmas period in Ireland and the UK. We're going to move on to the final day of the festival, of course. And Gordon, final day, December hurdle. Last year, brighter days ahead. Breathtaking performance. She provided with your 100 Grade 1 winner. How is brighter days ahead?
Good, Kevin. She's back riding out. She sort of missed a week or 10 days, and when you miss at that stage of the season, you know, a bit like Galopin Des Champs and a few of them horses, you know, it kind of holds you up getting back. She's in good form. Shane McCann rides her every day. He's very happy with her. Hoping the plan would be to get the Leopardstown again this year. For what race, I'm not sure.
One of the beginners?
Yeah.
Hurdling.
She could be supplemented for this race again. We'll just watch and see what's happening closer to the race. You know, obviously Lossie Mount is a champion and going to be very, very hard to beat. But you should never be afraid of one horse. I didn't enter in the race because at the time I thought we were going chasing. And but listen, if we have to supplement her, we will. I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but we'll keep our cards close to the chest near the time, because going chasing now, half the season's gone. The season could be getting away from us a bit.
Obviously, Cheltenham and Punchestown was not the real brighter days ahead. She was the first one beat at Cheltenham.
Yeah, no, she was. She was bet after a hurdle in Cheltenham. Look, she's been beaten in Cheltenham twice now, so maybe Cheltenham missing her track. But you know, when she got bet by Golden Ace, everyone, we all said, "Oh,
Not bad looking back now.
yeah, how did Willie's mare and her get bet that day? It was a fluke." And then it just goes to show how good of a mare that Golden Ace is. But our mare's in good form at home. Happy with her. She had a little procedure during the summer. She had a little problem, which is all fine now. You know, the little setback she had was totally different. She pulled a muscle behind. It was just one of them things. But we'll probably just wait and see near the time what way the race is cutting up. Obviously, all horses go in different directions. But listen, she's I'm not saying she's going to run. We've got Woodhoo in the race as well. So we'll see what happens.
And Woodhull, she's just kept on. She's the gift that keeps on giving.
She's a great mare, so she is. To be honest, I'd love to have another go at Lassie Mount. I think, you know, Lassie Mount she's unbelievable. She's a champion, but our mare, she doesn't show anything at home, so it's hard to know how good she is. But she keeps winning on the track.
This is Woodhull.
Yeah, Woodhoo, yeah. I mean, the only day she got beat was by Lassie Mount in Aintree, and I thought that was a very good run by our mare. Again, she's entered in the race, so we just watch and see what's going on. I mean, what else is running the race, Danny? What do you think?
I'd imagine that it looks like Lossiemouth didn't perform in Kempton. She'll probably reroute. Obviously, Stateman has gone out of the way.
Anzadam is in it.
Anzadam, he could run again, but you look at him in the fight in fifth and think maybe he needs the match practice of a race like that to sharpen him up again. I'd imagine it's probably going to be single-figure runners. There's normally never a big field in it.
I think if you go through the race, like, it wouldn't be shocked to be 4 or 5 runners in the race. You know, so I wouldn't be shocked if Woodhoo running it, or Brighter Days Ahead, sorry.
Okay, Brighter Days Ahead. Could be intriguing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chasing career put on hold, possibly, Gary.
It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? You can see when you get this deep into the season, as Gordon says, I think she's still young enough to go chasing anyway, isn't she? Fancy a mare to win it anyway this year. I think it'll be Lassie Mount. Look, she sets a very good standard. I get the impression, having worked a fair bit with Ruby, he still thinks she's better over a little bit further. I actually come round to that way of thinking as well, but Leopardstown being a real stiff track, she should be fine there, shouldn't she? But like, it's a game changer if you get a Brighter Days Ahead thrown into the mix against her. It looks like William Money's not going to be there, but take him out and put in another big name like Brighter Days Ahead. Look, it's a race I'd be quite happy to watch. I wouldn't have a strong view on that one, Kevin. I'd just be very interested observer. Okay,
Tote guaranteed the money back if you finish second, third or fourth in any of the feature races over the Christmas period in Ireland and, of course, the UK. We can't forget about Limerick Christmas Festival. And Danny, the Grade 1 at Limerick, brings back, I won't say good memories, but interesting memories. Yourself and your cousin Patrick, what a race that turned out to be. You let it, Tom, Gaelic Warrior, another way you're thinking back in third.
Yeah, what a race. And, you know, yeah, it's the one that always creeps up. But you look at what they've gone on to do now, and, you know, you're thinking Tingle Creek winners, King George contenders. Yeah, you turn up with good horses in it every year. You'd imagine, you know, it could be in the melting pot for something similar down there this year. Willie's got Final Demand. He's got Jimmy Desoy. Predator's Gold was very good when beating Slade Steel and Navan. Kitsbull beat Kid Dahi in Punchestown. There's a lot of horses there that this race probably fits into their schedule as well.
Go on, tell us, what did Patrick say to you that day?
Yeah, he told me to get a haircut, and sure, the haircut
didn't listen.
Didn't disappoint.
Yeah.
You know, and Gordon
didn't disappoint, so yeah, go on.
I know a good man that'll do a job on you.
How long did you not speak for after it?
No, we were speaking the next day. It's funny, I think about 3 or 4 days later, we were both on the same flight to ride in Doncaster, and we shared a hotel room over there at that time. So, like, yeah, the public perception was good and fancy and that. But Gordon will tell you, like, it's horse racing and sport. If you're not willing to, you know, have a proper go at things, and, you know, emotions run high at times, and if you haven't got that within you in sport, there's not much point stepping onto the pitch. You have to have a little bit of bite from my side and Patrick's side, and that needs to be channeled in the right way, and both of us do, and we have a go at it.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us for our panel tonight. Best of luck with all your horses over the Christmas period. And Danny, best of luck to you with all your rides as well. And Gary, best of luck to you with all your punting over the Christmas period. Just to thank our sponsors, of course, Tote and Racing TV, and also just to remind you about all the different Tote betting angles over the Christmas period: a win, place, exacta, trifecta, place pot, jackpot, and don't forget the money back on second, third or fourth if you finish second, third or fourth in any of the big races over the Christmas period. Hope you enjoyed watching. Happy Christmas and happy punting over the Christmas period as well.